Hello guys, it's Mark, aka the Drunk Bunny, back with you again for another new video. Today is a special video. It is my much anticipated top 10 movies of 2017 video. I'm very excited to make this video. 2017 was the first year that I actually documented all the movies I saw, and most of them to YouTube, with my Let's Go to the Movies series. So go check that out if you haven't. I had 8 episodes of that this year. I'm actually filming the 9th right now, and that's why I'm in the car, because I would have liked to do this video in front of my collection. I'll tell you guys the reason why I didn't. It is the holiday season right now. It's December 27th as I am filming this, and this probably will be up in a couple days. But there is family all over my house right now. I have all kinds of family that I'm visiting, and I'm with my parents, staying with my parents and everything, and it's just hectic, and I do not have time to film at home. So what I did was, I decided I was going to go to the movies today. I'm going to go see Star Wars again, and I just going to get away from everything. And I figured while I was doing that, I would film my top 10 movies of the year. So, without that, let's get into this list. I do not own physical copies of all these movies. So, when I do own a physical copy, I'm going to show it to you. When I don't, I am going to try to put a picture of the movie poster up in the screen there, hopefully. Hopefully I will be able to do that. I'm not very tech savvy, but we're going to do that. So, anyway, I've had a tough time coming down with the last few on this list. My top 5 is pretty well set. So yeah. Also, I want to tell you guys how I'm approaching this video. I approached this as my favorite movies of 2017. I'm not saying that these 10 movies are the best movies that were released this year. A, I didn't see all the movies that were released this year. B, I'm not an expert. And C, I just want to use my favorites. It's going to be my favorite list. So that's why it's my top 10. So I guarantee you there will be movies in certain spots that you will not see on very many YouTubers' lists. So I figure that makes me a little bit my own, you know? So anyway, let's get started with this list. I do have a few copies here with me. I did bring my Blu-rays with me. So, the first movie I have here, and I'm kind of cheating. I thought about doing an honorable mention list, but I just didn't have enough picks. So we're going straight into the top 10. This is number 10, and I am cheating because this movie was originally released in 2016, but I did not watch it until March of 2017, so I'm counting it. So I am cheating a little bit, but I love this movie so much I had to put it in my list. And that is Sausage Party. Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig. So many great actors and actresses voice acting in this one. It's a filthy, raunchy comedy that also offers a lot of philosophical and psychological, well, I don't know psychological, but social commentary, which I really love. They make fun of religion and the belief, the necessity to believe in a higher power for some people. They also and kind of the mindless accepting of a higher power and everything that goes in with that. They also make fun of some political situations going on. They've got the bagel, wherever he is. There he is, right down there. And the bread thing that's supposed to be it's supposed to be a Muslim and a Jewish guy. So they're kind of poking fun at the Arab-Israeli conflict there. I was really impressed with this. I figured it would just be a stupid, raunchy comedy. But it wasn't. It was so much more. And that's why I loved it so much. So definitely check this one out, Sausage Party. It's pretty well known. So that's number 10. Number 9, we're finally getting into the movies. I believe from 9 on, it's every movie that I've seen that I actually went to the theater to see in 2017. So, number 9 is Murder on the Orient Express. It's by far from the best movie I saw this year. It's not. It had a great ensemble cast. You got Johnny Depp, Judi Dench, Josh Gad, Michelle Pfeiffer, all kinds of great actors and actresses. Penelope Cruz is also in this. The cast and the performances were the best part of the movie. The writing, I felt like, was so-so. It wasn't amazing. I believe I gave this movie a 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. It does rank towards the bottom of this list, though. The cinematography was also some of the best things about this movie. It really captured the scene of a train stranded in snow and ice really well. And it also had some of the coolest shots I've ever seen. They had really weird angles for part of this movie. One scene was shot directly, or the entire thing was shot from an overhead camera, which was really cool. Something you don't really see very often, so I did like that quite a bit. Moving on to number 8. Sorry, I don't have anything written down, so I'm trying to think what my number 8 was. Number 8 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I probably should have made a list so I could read it off. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it comes in at number 8. I originally, when I saw this, I thought it was just as good as the first, maybe better, but I've since changed my mind on that. I don't think it was nearly as good as the first one. I've kind of grown to dislike the plot of this film. The best parts are the jokes and the characters. I mean, they have a great set of characters in these Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And they're very funny, like I said earlier. I mean, they're a bit more family-friendly in terms of the funny, like the comedy. Because the other comedy superhero film that comes to mind is Deadpool. And Deadpool is absolutely not family-friendly. So it is interesting to see that side of it. The action was good. But I do feel like they could have done a better plot for this film. That's just all I have to say in terms of the negatives. But it was overall very solid. And I'm glad I went to see it in the theater this year. So now we move on to number 7, another funny Marvel movie, and that is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming has been the Spider-Man movie I have been waiting for my entire life. They finally took an immature Spider-Man who actually looks like a teenager. No Tobey Maguire bullshit. No Andrew Garfield. They finally have, I believe his name is Tom Holland. Finally have a young-looking guy. The guy is younger than me, which kind of made me step back for a second there. I believe he's like 20. I'm 21. Anyway, he's such a believable character, such a fun character, and I'm glad that they did away with the origin story thing. We know what the origin story is for Spider-Man. We don't need to see it a million times. We saw it with Tobey Maguire. We saw it with Andrew Garfield. We don't need to see it anymore, and I'm glad that they abandoned that. It was just a fun movie, a fun superhero movie. Michael Keaton is in this. Michael Keaton is one of my favorite actors of all time. He played Vulture. Yeah, I was trying to think who the villain was for this movie. He played Vulture. Really good acting overall. Great action scenes. Iron Man is in this movie, but he doesn't play a vital role. I felt like if they'd have put more of Iron Man in this, then it would have felt like they were trying to prop up Spider-Man with Iron Man. But they didn't. They put him in where he needed to be in, otherwise he was out of the movie. It was for sure 100% a Spider-Man movie. And it was the best Spider-Man movie, I think, ever in terms of live action. I think it beats Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It certainly beats the Amazing Spider-Man series, which was god-awful. Alright, so that is number 7. I almost said The Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming with number 7. Number 6. I think number 6 is the best movie I saw this year. It ranks number 6 because it's not one of my favorites that I've seen. But it is, without further ado, it is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. In terms of the performances, the writing, the directing, the cinematography, everything, this is the best movie I have seen this year. It's the most unpredictable movie I think I have seen ever. Seriously, if you're watching this thing for the first time, you will have so many holy shit, oh my god moments. Like, you will be just blown away by by what's happening, what's occurring. They did not filter themselves at all. It's one of the most profanity-laced movies that I've seen, which I dig very much, and I felt like it really captured the emotion of a story like that. So yeah, go watch my Let's Go to the Movies episode, where I went to see that one. That was just a month ago, I believe. I think it was December 1st, actually, so just less than a month. Really good, amazing movie. The best movie I saw this year, but it's not my favorite because it takes a lot out of you to watch. It's a tough movie to watch because of what's going on in the story. It's very difficult to watch because it's got a lot of racism and hate and violence and all that stuff. So anyway, but I believe shot for shot, this is the best movie that I saw this year. Comes in at number 6. Number 5, we're halfway through. And as I said, my top 5 was pretty well set when I sat down here today. Number 5 is Star Wars The Last Jedi. I'm about to go see it yet again in just a couple hours. I'm going to go down to the movie theater and see it. I've heard mixed reactions from Star Wars fans about this movie. I am not going to spoil anything, so do not worry. I really, really liked it. I felt like the plot could have been better, because it did feel a little bit redundant throughout the movie. But I loved Luke Skywalker coming back, of course, and what they did just in general. I think they have a good thing going with the kind of new group of people that they're putting in. They have Rey and what's the stormtrooper's name? Finn? Is it Finn? I can't remember. Anyway, the guy who John Boyega plays, I think his name is Finn. I'm probably offending all the Star Wars fans by not knowing that. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I do like it quite a bit. I just actually got into it like last year, so forgive me if I forget the names. Anyway, I really liked what they were doing. The action scenes were great. I loved the porgs. Absolutely. They struck gold when they came up with the idea for the porgs. Like, they're going to be selling porg everything in a few years. So yeah. And the funniest scenes were with the porgs in them, I think. So yeah, I loved this Star Wars movie. Like, I don't think it was as good as Force Awakens, and that's why it ranks at number 5. If it was better than Force Awakens, it probably would be number 1. But it's going to rank at number 5 because I don't think it was quite as good as Force Awakens, but it was very solid. And I don't think it deserves quite as much hate as it's been getting from some Star Wars fans. Like I said, other Star Wars fans seem to love it, so it's kind of subjective. So yeah, the plot was kind of the weakness, but I felt like everything else overcame that. So that was number 5. Number 4. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and we finally have another one that I own. We have Wonder Woman, which I just picked up for Black Friday, actually. So Wonder Woman, I think, shot for shot, this is the best DC movie in the past, 5 years, let's say, because Dark Knight Rises was technically a DC movie. I think that was the best since this, or with this. Yeah, Gal Gadot is incredible. She's fucking gorgeous, too. But she's an incredible actress. She's a badass in these movies. And every DC movie I've seen with Wonder Woman in it, I think Wonder Woman has been my favorite character. So I really like this. It was directed by a woman. as well. It has a fairly prominent female cast. I really like the strong female message that's coming out of this movie, because it just seems like women have been ostracized for too long, and I'm glad to see some strong women come out of this movie. And it's just well made, really well made. The action scenes are great. The storyline's really good. The plot's great. I don't see a whole lot of bad with this movie. There may be a few slow moments, but other than that, I really don't see too much wrong with this. And again, I've kind of developed a decently strong crush for Gal Gadot. So yeah, Wonder Woman comes in at number 4. Really loved this. It took me a while to see it. I saw it 2 months late, but I did see it in the theater. And I loved it. So, Wonder Woman at number 4. We're really getting down to it now. At number 3, we have A Cure for Wellness. Now, this is one movie that you probably won't see on very many top 10 lists. It bombed at the box office. It was getting mixed to bad reviews, but I loved this movie so much. I watched this way back in February. It was the first episode of my Let's Go to the Movies series, and I watched it in a dark theater all by myself on a rainy, I believe it was Tuesday afternoon. Amazing experience. If I know you can't really choose to see a movie by yourself, but if you're lucky enough to see a horror movie by yourself, all by yourself in the theater, it's such a great experience. I would recommend it to anybody, especially if you like horror movies. Now, if you easily get scared, maybe not, but I thought it was just an incredible experience watching this film, and I loved it so much. I don't think it was perfect. Far from perfect, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. It's dark, it's twisted. The ending is going to turn a lot of people off, because it got kind of batshit crazy at the end. But I really loved the feel that this movie gave me. It really felt dark and dreary, and gave that great suspense feeling as well, because for a good majority of the movie, you have no idea what's going on, which is great for the viewer. The cinematography, this is the best shot movie I think I've seen this year, in terms of the absolutely gorgeous visuals. There's one scene where he's on the train, and they show an outside shot of the train going into this mountain in the Alps. I think it's the best looking shot I have probably ever seen. It is so fucking gorgeous. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie. I know it got panned by critics. It didn't make a whole lot of money. I believe this is 20th Century Fox, actually. 20th Century Fox had some balls to make this movie, because you don't see movies like this made by a major studio very often. And I really liked it. I kind of shit on Hollywood earlier, because they remake and redo everything. But they had the guts to make an original movie like this, and this is certainly something very original. It borrows stuff from other movies. This movie gets compared to Shutter Island a lot, but I think overall it was a very original story and an original feel. So yeah, I really love this movie. It completely immersed me in the story, and it is long. It's over 2.5 hours, but I think it's worth it. A Cure for Wellness at number 3. Number 2. Number 2 was one of the only 2 movies, I believe, this year that I actually saw twice in theaters. Star Wars is going to be the second. This was the first. It is Atomic Blonde, starring Charlize Theron and, what's that other guy's name? James McAvoy. As you can see, it's number 2. I don't think a lot of people would put this at number 2 either. I don't think it was the best movie made this year. I already told you guys that. But it was one of my favorites. I loved this movie so much. It's set in 1989, the week before the fall of the Berlin Wall. And it's set in Berlin. with this spy named Lorraine Broughton. She's a British spy. She's sent into Berlin on a mission, I'll say. I won't really say anything else about that. But it had a great feel to it as well. I talked about the feel with A Cure for Wellness. This had a really dark, dreary vibe as well. And it just really set the scene really well. It also had amazing action sequences. Hiccup. Anyway, it also had amazing action sequences. There was one scene that I believe was a 10-minute action scene that was shot in one take, which was just incredible, and you'll probably recognize that if you see the movie. People have been saying this is a female John Wick, and I have not seen John Wick. I need to see it, but from what I know about John Wick, I can understand those comparisons. Yeah, it's just a badass female spy. Charlize Theron's a great actress as well. She's one of my favorites. And I really, really loved this movie. The score is another one of my favorite things. It's a lot of good 80s rock. And it is scored by Tyler Bates, who's in Marilyn Manson, one of my favorite bands, and favorite artists. So, yeah, I definitely loved this movie a lot. The beginning scene of this, they're playing Cat People by David Bowie. Great song, and just an absolute perfect beginning to a movie. Like, just right there, you're set into what's going to be a great ride. So I do highly recommend Atomic Blonde as well. It didn't get as bad a reviews as A Cure for Wellness did, but it didn't get amazing reviews. So again, I don't think it's the best movie. I just think it's my second favorite. And that brings me to number 1. So drum roll, please. Probably can't hear that. Anyway, at number 1, my favorite movie of 2017, Logan. It was my favorite movie when I watched it in March, and it's still my favorite movie of the year. Hugh Jackman's final Wolverine film, and it's his best by far. They took this a very serious, dark route. There is a few jokes in it, but for comic relief, but very little. This is a very serious superhero film, if you could even call it a superhero film. It has the vibe of a Western, and half the movie, it's like a road trip kind of thing. So yeah, I really loved this. My favorite movie of the year. It tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. And it's just a really great story. The action, again, phenomenal. They did the R rating for this, which I think was a really great move. Lots of blood and gore, lots of swearing, which is natural. Like, if you're getting your neck sliced open by a fucking claw, of course you're gonna swear. Like, or you're swiping or I can't talk. If you're slitting people's necks with a Wolverine claw, you're gonna swear. So it's just so much more realistic to have the cursing in this in these action movies, especially. Anyway, so I do really applaud the R rating. And they didn't go like gratuitous with it. They didn't make it crazy and nuts and out there. They made it realistic, which I really liked. So of course there's lots of really awesome like gory scenes in this movie. So if that's what you're into, great. I loved it for the story, for the emotion, for the seriousness. Yeah, Logan, my favorite movie of 2017, right here. So that's it. I probably should have prepared a little bit better for this video, so I hope it doesn't seem like I'm rambling and talking all over the place. But all in all, I really like how my list came out this year. And it's my first go at it, so next year, hopefully, I'll be a little bit better. So, anyway, leave me a comment down below telling me the favorite movies that you guys saw this year. I'd love to read about that. As I know my list is very different from a lot of YouTubers. I'm sure I'm going to watch some other YouTubers. I watch Chris Stuckman a lot. I watch the Flick Pick. He's the one that kind of got me in to to doing this, to doing YouTube and filming my DVD collection, my Blu-ray collection. I watched him all the time, and he really inspired me. So I'll definitely be checking out his list. Those guys always make a list. I'm very excited. Also, stay tuned for my top 10 albums of the year. I'm going to be making that video soon. I don't know when. I'm about to go on vacation for like 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks, a week. I won't be back till the new year. I think the 3rd is when I'm coming back. So, stay tuned for that. I will be making that. Don't worry. It just might be sometime in January. So yeah, I've already got that list pretty well narrowed down. I'm going to be making a list for that one, so I don't have to remember off the top of my head. But I was in the car. I was mobile today. I had to remember it right off the top of the old noggin. So, again, hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave me a like. Of course, leave your comments down below. Hit that subscribe button down below to stay tuned for new videos, including my top 10 albums of 2017. I hope you had an awesome Christmas and holiday season, and I hope you have an amazing 2018. Goodbye.